Shomin sample. Pretend to be gay to get your own harem. Or maybe I should elaborate. Claim that you have a muscle fetish to attend an all-female school. No? Still not explaining? Oh well. Shomin Sample is a harem anime released back in fall of 2015. I brushed over it as it was airing. But as time went by, I got sort of curious, given its unusual premise. The story is about an average teenage boy that in one fateful day gets kidnapped from his local high school and dragged to a female-only private facility. The show starts very abruptly, and it's hard at first to understand exactly what is happening. I mean, macho men cosplaying as special forces that simply kidnap a guy from school is a rather puzzling sight to behold. Thankfully, we get an explanation on this unusual endeavor. You see, Seikai Academy is a private, females-only school, and the students there have been sheltered from the outside world ever since the beginning of their education. These noble rich girls have more or less been isolated from the mundane life most people know, therefore they need a bit of an insight on what the real world is all about. Here enters our protagonist, Kimito Kagurazaka, a fine specimen of an average teenage boy.
Kimito Kagurazaka. Grades, looks, brains, height, and weight. Average.
But wait, its unusually standard behavior and common appearance wasn't the only reason he was chosen to be the school Shomin sample. Oh no. The decisive factor that got him into this situation was his well-known love for the man's muscle.
You do have one extraordinary quality. I mean your attraction to males.
What?
Or more specifically, a muscle fetish.
Apparently Kimito is a muscle-loving gay boy. Or is he? Well, obviously, this was a misfortunate misunderstanding, and the main character tries to come clean and explain that he does not have a muscle fetish. But before he could end his argument, the school principal makes it clear that if he indeed does not like men, he will be exiled to a foreign place, but only after also removing his balls as well, of course.
Then for the sake of the ladies, I'll have to clip your genitalia.
My dream is to live life wedged between two oiled glutes!
Faced with such a decision, the protagonist decided that it would be best for him to pretend to have a muscle fetish and keep all his body parts intact and continue his education. And now the adventure starts. Gotta say, for an average boy, Kimito handles this situation pretty well. Most men would be overwhelmed in these conditions, but the main character handles these girls like a champ. I mean, I'll be terrified to even approach one of these ladies, and yet Kimito talks to them with ease. Best moments from the show are the ones in which he interacts with the females around him. The protagonist is referred to as a commoner, and yet this low social status didn't affect his personality at all. He's still eager to explore and meet new people. Maybe he ain't that average as people claim. Most teenage boys are shut-ins that cannot even start a conversation with a girl. This guy is rather confident in his abilities, which is something I very much respect about him. This must be the best aspect of the anime. The main character, that is. Kimito is such a cool guy to have around. He's simple-minded and perverted, best kind of fellow to face a harem, in my opinion. He can be pretty badass at certain moments, and uses his wit to take control of certain situations.
He can only be sexually aroused by men.
Nice traps, big boy. I can tell you've been to the gym.
This muscle fetish gig worked pretty well, and brought a good amount of comedy to an already funny show. Shomin Sample is more of a slice-of-life type of anime, as it presents little to no action except for the third and final episodes. Right at the end, the show became a mess. The story was all over the place, and things started happening at a chaotic pace, leaving me confused and baffled at what was happening. Despite all that, the end story arc seemed thematic, as it kept true to the light-headed atmosphere the show so far incorporated. Unlike in Demon King Daimao, where the ending made no sense, was all over the place, and frustrated the hell out of me, here actually made me laugh, as it ended up being appropriate and a lot of fun. The characters are what made this show entertaining to watch. The protagonist ain't the only one that is interesting and well developed, as the girls in his harem also get their moments to shine. We are dealing with quite a nice variety of hair color, body shapes, and personality. Not exactly the best waifus on the market, but they get the job done and manage to awaken my interest throughout the show. Before I go into specifics, I also have to mention that for some reason these girls aren't allowed to access common items and technology that commoners are able to enjoy. Therefore, Kimito often has opportunities to show off his skill and knowledge.
My dearest sir, thank you for allowing us to gaze upon your tremendous device. Oh heavens, what am I thinking?
The girl he managed to impress the most is Aika Tenkubashi. She's a petite and a very naive girl, even compared to the low standards of this particular school. Aika is easy to trick, and everything commoner related seems to fascinate her.
Pretty cool, right?
It's so awesome! Crap, I responded honestly without thinking first!
The main character does not shy away from mocking her on numerous occasions, also trying to understand the reason she's so lonely at the beginning of the show. It turns out Aika has problems socializing with the other girls,
Just being myself won't get me anywhere.
and mostly spends her time alone without even trying to make herself liked by others. Luckily for her, the protagonist does not have the same problem and is able to help Aika overcome her insecurities. This was a nicely done character arc, which introduced Kimito to the school life of Seikan Academy and helped Aika fulfill her dream of becoming the most popular girl in school. Next go on the list is Reiko Arisugawa. She's the rich girl archetype. Reiko is a beautiful, voluptuous blonde bimbo. Despite all these attributes, she's a rather kind and gentle person. Reiko is one of the first girls that opened herself to Kimito, and ever since the beginning, she showed great interest in his personality. As most girls from her class, she was fascinated by the main character and quickly became one of his friends. The last story arc in the show actually resolves around her character. The marriage proposal was arranged, and she was forced to quit school and conform to her parents' will. The main character is the one that stops the marriage by proposing to her right in front of everyone.
I can't offer the lifestyle you're used to, but, you know.
Another important aspect of her character is that she used to be rivals with Aika at the beginning for some reason. Or more or less, Aika was jealous of her and rejected her friendship, which upset Reiko, proving again her gentle and caring nature. The next two girls on the list are a bit more difficult towards the main character. Karen is a girl from a samurai family who carries a katana on school grounds.
Why is that girl wearing a katana?
She sees Kimito as a threat and charges him to a duel. After experiencing a surprisingly humiliating defeat at the hands of the main character, she believes herself to have gotten weak and swears to stick closely by his side.
I now belong to you. So I'll be here for your every need, and I'll stay by your side.
She acknowledges Kimito as her superior and offers herself to his will, until the day she'll be strong enough to challenge him and strike him down for good.
Then you die.
Yup, you're totally nuts, but in a charming way.
Naturally, Karen ends up developing feelings for the protagonist, but is too insecure of her feminine charms to make a move on him.
My skill with a sword is special.
Yeah?
Do you like it? You think it's amazing, don't you?
Yeah, for sure.
Wait a minute, a brunette with a tight body that has mastered fighting with a weapon and is unsure of her femininity. This reminds me a lot of Sagiri Ameno from Yuna and the Haunted Hot Springs series. They are both cold towards the protagonist on the surface, while hiding their true feelings from him. I think that's called being a tsundere. Anyway, I really liked Karen as a character, and even the show acknowledges that she would be the best girl for Kimito to start a relationship with.
Karen and Kamito, what you have is faith. There is simply no other way to express your love. Deep level, both spiritually and emotionally.
Now that we are talking about brunettes, it's as good of a time as any to introduce the main character's faithful and sadistic mate, Miyuki Kujo. She's rather cold towards him, and ever since the beginning of the show, this particular mate seems to rather enjoy being difficult.
We don't all eat cup men all the time. You just clicked your tongue again!
Miyuki likes to talk back, and even has an attitude.
The commoner's psyche is quite simplistic in its composition.
She's the one that wakes him up and even changes his attire, while being as static as possible.
Not cool!
I'm helping you change your clothes.
Yeah, but I got it covered.
No, this is a tradition.
I really like this maid. She may act disinterested, but I feel like she's also hiding her true feelings for Kimito. This lucky bastard is surrounded by women that have their hearts for him. There's also white-haired Lolly that makes an appearance, and Karen, of all people, seems to be fascinated with her.
You pointless thing. Pointless.
Alright guys, I give Shomin Sample a 7 out of 10. It is a fun anime to watch.
If I give you my shirt, I'll be half naked.
That's part of my master plan!